Not too long ago, a big point of discussion in the FGC was single-player modes. It's true that even today the offerings can be rather scant. Even some games released as recently as 2024 and beyond are still not offering a whole lot besides arcade mode and maybe a small story mode as well. This is especially a hard sell considering most new fighting games cost $60 to $70 on release. However, pointing out that more can be done with single player in fighting games does not mean we can't appreciate what's already there. Today I thought it would be fun to talk about the one mode that I think has been carrying the single player experience of the fighting game genre for a long time. Today, we'll be talking about combo trials. Or mission mode, or challenge mode, trial mode, whatever. Different games may give them different names, but the general idea is the same regardless of what you choose to boot up. What is a combo trial though? Well, it's quite simple. With combo trials, you pick a character and then the game gives you preset combos to perform. You do one, you get a pat on the head and a congratulations message, and then you move on to the next. Typically most fighting games will start off by having you perform your chosen character's special moves just to familiarize you with them. Once the combos are dished out, they start off simple, easy links or gatlings just to get you warmed up before moving on to more difficult stuff. Most of the time, the combos are divided into categories based on difficulty. Once you graduate past the easy beginner stuff, you'll start doing straight B&Bs, or at the very least routing that is practical in a real match. Combo trials are my absolute favorite fighting game mode that isn't just, the actual game. They're incredibly fun and immensely satisfying to go through. The thing is, I've seen casual players deride combo trials because the combos you're told to perform are not practical. This is not an entirely untrue critique, and I understand why someone would be upset by this, but the thing is, I have a different mindset here. In my opinion, looking at combo trials as some sort of extended tutorial is a little unreasonable. Oftentimes, they're given names that indicate that they're meant to challenge the player. Personally, I'm all for combo trials leaning more into silly and difficult routes instead of trying to teach you optimals. Not that they can't do both. For the sake of this video, I'd like to look at some of the different fighting games whose combo trials stand out to me for one reason or another. They've been a staple in fighting games for a longer period than you might think, which is kind of funny to me given that back in the day, sharing combos online wasn't as easy for players in a time when the majority of video sharing platforms didn't exist. The oldest fighting game I can think of that has a combo challenge mode is Street Fighter EX Plus Alpha on PS1, which came out in 1997. Christ, man, I can't even imagine having to figure out some of this stuff on your own back then, but at the same time, I love the idea that this was the way some people discovered how links worked, back when you couldn't just ask what that was in a Discord server or Twitch chat. Some of these trials are shockingly ambitious for the time. Alan has one requiring you to keep the opponent juggled in midair for a certain amount of time, and Hokuto has a mission that doubles as a tutorial on low-profiling fireballs with her slide. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance is also a pretty damn old game with something resembling a combo trial mode, though here it's named Conquest Mode. But wait a minute, isn't Conquest Mode the third-person RPG/action game from Deception and Armageddon? Well, in those games the Conquest Mode does indeed take those forms, but in Deadly Alliance it was a bit different. MKDA's Conquest Mode is basically a mission mode. You select a character and then you're presented with tasks that you must perform, starting with performing strings and special moves and moving on to combos, before ending with a mirror match against the CPU. In between these missions you're filled in on story details for each character, as well as the real-life history of the fighting styles that they use, which is pretty cool. Anyway, back on topic. There's a lot of games I want to pick apart. Even though combo trials are so common, so many games seem to have their own unique spin that they put on things. The first game I wanted to highlight was Street Fighter, as usual. Hey, it's my main game, can't help it. This time though, I don't want to talk about 6. That game's combo trials aren't really anything special. SF4 has probably the most well-known set of trials for any game. This was before the series added a buffer to make links easier, so one-frame links in this game are real one-frame links, and they're hard. As a result, SF4 has many infamously difficult trials, like Vega number 17 and Fuerte number 24 in the Super SF4 trials. Gotta admit, some of these give me major appreciation for SF4's very freeform links. There's some freaky stuff here that would never work in future games. However, the game that I wanted to highlight was actually Street Fighter V. I know this game represents the absolute worst quote-unquote product a fighting game can be, especially considering its horrendous launch, but as the game's content cycle went on, they really took full advantage of the combo trials. In its current state, 5 has 6 sets of trials, representing the different seasons. With each season, they added new characters, and of course those characters got their own trials, but they would also add new trials for existing characters already in the roster. Obviously, new seasons would come with patches that changed characters, typically in ways that facilitated the existence of new combos, and with the developers later adding a second V-skill and V-trigger for everyone, many of the updated combo trials were designed to show off that stuff for older characters, which is insanely cool. The best part is, in order to maintain consistency, the game will revert itself back to outdated patches when you boot up an old set of trials. This is your only way to experience aspects of the game that changed between updates, such as jury pinwheel originally being done with kicks instead of punches. It's a very limited way of doing that, but it's better than the nothing that a lot of other games give you. I kinda wish more games would make an effort to preserve old patches, but that's a whole other issue. 2XKO is another game whose trials have become a big deal ever since they were added in a couple of months ago. You couldn't scroll YouTube without running into videos of people trying them out. I don't have much to say about this game, though I did enjoy going through Ari's trials, but if this game maintains any kind of longevity, I hope that they continue to add new trials as they iterate on the game, something that I have no doubt that they plan to do. It's always a shame to see a game that's years old be stuck with old, outdated trials. Uni 2 also does this, but I got other things to praise that game for. Something I always appreciate is when combo trials take full advantage of a game's mechanics. It doesn't always have to be just combos into specials and supers. Marvel 3 is a game I like in that regard. This game has assists since it's a team game, and there's also X Factor, and the cool thing is that the trials have you use these fairly liberally towards the end. I think for a game with only 10 trials per character, this game is guilty of having more trials than necessary dedicated to just doing specials and supers and really simple chains, but the effort was there. Some team games have their combo trials be entirely solo endeavors, which feels like a waste. I know it's hard enough to come up with routes for a single character, let alone integrating assists into the mix, but I don't know. I have fond-ish memories of BlazBlue Cross Tag Battles trials, as it was the first game where I finished every trial for every character, but everyone only has 6 trials and they're so simple, they feel like an afterthought. Maybe it's just me. That's also a major problem I have with Dragon Ball FighterZ trials. I love this game to death, but damn if these aren't a complete bore. Does every character need an entire 2 trials dedicated to just doing their single button auto combo? I know DBFZ's system was far from the most flexible in its first incarnation, but good Christ, even as new seasons dropped and every character's combo routing became richer, the trials just stayed the same. GT Goku has 10 trials just like everyone else, and not a single one makes use of the Spirit Bomb, which is one of his most important tools for big damage even back when he first came out in 2019. DBFZ now has such crazy combos for every character with the way everyone's been juiced, not to mention stuff like level 1 into level 3 cancels and the ability to freely tag in other characters, and none of that is represented in the combo trials. I know I'm probably the only person on Earth who even cares, but this stuff matters to me, damn it. Maybe this will get amended when Daima Goku drops? Probably not. On the complete other spectrum of difficulty, King of Fighters 13 is a game known for many things, chief among them being its visuals, and of course it's also known for the level of challenge presented by its combo trials. I know YouTube titles aren't always the best frame of reference, but yeah, these aren't easy. I'm hardly in a place to say though, because I suck at KOF inputs. I mentioned Uni earlier. This is a game you also see a lot on combo trial videos on YouTube. The trials here will definitely give you a run for your money, although I appreciate how this game actually gives you a reference on when you have to delay your buttons. I think the difficulty of the characters themselves is also reflected in how hard the trials are. You pick a simpler character like Tsurugi or Nanase, and the missions aren't that bad. Characters considered more difficult, such as Batista and Yuzu, have much harder trials though. All relative, I suppose. I'm bad at execution in this game in general anyway. What I wanted to highlight with Uni 2 in particular is not the trials themselves, but what comes before. Now, most of the games that I've mentioned so far had the early trials dedicated to having you do special moves and other very basic beginner level things like the dedicated auto combo trials I mentioned in DBFZ. In Uni 2, after you select your character, you can see an entire section that's labeled as coaching. This section consists of what the game calls strategy, educating you on different aspects of the character. And it's surprisingly in depth. It teaches you about block strings, which includes rebeating, anti-airs, it shows you some mix-ups and reversals, as well as neutral strategies. Obviously, It's very rudimentary, and if you want to learn these characters, there are player-made resources that will teach you much more worthwhile tech, but the effort from the developers is noteworthy. May as well give people something more to chew on before crushing their soul, right? Some games favor creativity over practicality. Persona 4 Arena's trials are very standard at the offset. You do the combos that the game gives you more, you do those. Seems very, very normal. And then you hit number 25. For every character's final trial, things get a little weird. The tasks you're given are much more free form. In most games, if you're struggling with a combo trial, the game will provide a demo that you can watch that showcases what the combo is supposed to look like. These final trials in Ultimax do not do that until you've already cleared them, so you either lock the fuck in and figure it out yourself, or you just Google it. The task varies from character to character. For some, you have to either perform a combo that does a certain amount of damage or inflicts a certain amount of hits. Other times, it's just silly stuff like connecting multiple supers together. Look man, these can be annoying, but the dopamine rush when you clear them, it's otherworldly, even compared to the normal trials. I don't know, I just love the freedom that you're given here, evident by the fact that you can watch demos of combos that fulfill the tasks you're given afterward. The fact that this Naoto 25 demo is completely different from the combo I did to clear the trial is proof of how cool this is to me. Funnily enough, the idea of giving players a vague task to complete instead of a full notated combo to recreate is the entire premise of the combo trials in Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact. The game tells you to do something like start a combo with a piercing attack or an assist. The idea is to do a certain amount of damage within these specifications. Now I recall when Nen Impact released, among the many things it was derided for, these combo trials were at the receiving end of some criticism. Admittedly, it does feel a little lazy, but I don't know, I kind of find it endearing. It feels indicative of the mid-2000s anime game vibes that Nen Impact gives off, and if this game weren't a whopping $60, I would have totally fucked with it. Hunter x Hunter is just a game in the wrong timeline. Speaking of 2000s anime games, Fate Unlimited Codes. This game contains a mission mode in the PS2 and PSP ports. Each character has a decent variety of missions. Some will require you to defeat a certain amount of enemies or perform specials and supers, but many of them are just flat out combo trials. The cool thing is, this game also has trials that give you more freeform tasks, such as dealing a certain amount of damage in a combo. Seems to me that Aiding, the company that made both Fate Unlimited Codes and Nen Impact, just happens to really like these kinds of mission modes. Can't blame them, they're fun. Guilty Gear Strive's trials are the last I want to touch on. They suck. See, the mission mode in this game has sections for wall break combos and red RC combos. Those two missions have one trial each for every single character. Kinda lame. However, Strive also has a feature that makes up for it, Combo Maker. Here you can create or search up combo recipes, as the game calls it, for the entire roster. Any combo you take an interest in can be attempted in a similar manner to the regular trials, and it's such a sick feature. I really love this idea. Inevitably, players are going to find something that the developers didn't in terms of combo routing, and giving people the chance to share those discoveries in the game itself is friggin' genius. If there's a combo you particularly fancy, you can save it so that you have access to it without having to look it up. Seriously, I hope every new fighting game copies this, cause it's awesome. Bottom line, combo trials rule. So that's all I really wanted to talk about. Like I said, I really enjoy combo trials for just how fun and challenging they can be. Personally, I'm averse to a lot of single-player content that involves fighting the CPU. Oftentimes, they either just destroy you or sit there and let you beat them up. Having something that lets you experience the game without having to deal with computers is always a win in my book, and combo trials are a joy to do and extremely satisfying to finish. I also think it's cool how many of these games have their own unique things about the combo trials to appreciate. I had a video like this planned back in 2024, so I'm glad I was able to finally finish it up. Let me know which game has your favorite combo trials. Thanks for watching, have a great night, and take care. Hey everyone, time for the membership shoutout. This is a real short video, I know, but like I said, this is pretty much something that I had planned back in 2024. I never ended up being able to really finish the script. I don't really know why. Nothing really just came to me when I decided I'm gonna make a video about combo trials, but I feel like I was able to put together something pretty decent. Mainly I just wanted to talk about why I think the mode is cool and some of the combo trials that kind of stood out to me personally. So hope you enjoyed. Anyway, time for the membership shoutouts. Thank you to Old Man Han, Kemi the Killer, Jazba, Mortis, Arg Seals, Wormy, Perfect Orange, Happy the Hap Hap, Gundog92, Loose Chujin, Raymond ZX200, Nick Toyo, Basewire, Power Level Asian, Kira the Stowaway, Sonic Frontiers is a good game, Isaac the Collector, Chandarin, and Professor Bagel. Thank you so much for the support. It really does mean the world to me. I know that I promised a low tiers video and that will be coming in the future, but I just wanted to do this real quickly just to, get it out of my mind. I kind of had it planned since before, actually around the time around the time I got back home from Frosty's, it got into my mind and wouldn't get out. So I decided to finish this. Didn't take very long. So, just a fun little short video, I guess, to tide people over while I work on bigger stuff, because I do have bigger stuff planned. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that in the future. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I love you all. Thank you.